بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم
الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور انفسنا ومن سيئات اعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له واشهد ان لا اله الا الله وحده لا شريك له واشهد ان محمدا عبده ورسوله وخليله وصفيه وامينه على وحيه ومصطفاه من خلقه صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وصحبه. يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما. أما بعد فإن خير الكلام كلام الله وخير الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل بدعة ضلالة. Indeed, all praises, all thanks, and means of gratitude belong to Allah, and they are due to Allah, and they should be for Allah. We believe this in our hearts. We know this in our minds. And we profess and proclaim this with our tongues. We seek Allah's forgiveness, His pardon, His protection, His divine refuge and sanctuary. We ask Allah to protect us from the evils of our souls and from the consequences and the backlashing ricochets of our bad deeds. Those whom Allah guides, none can mislead. And those who are misled by Allah, no one can ever guide them. I bear witness and I testify, not we, but we seek Allah's help, we praise Allah, we seek His refuge, and I bear witness that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the only deity worthy of worship, along with our partner, the only God, the only true ma'bud bihaq. And I bear witness that Allah deserves this right to be worshipped alone without any partner. And I also testify that Muhammad ibn Abdullah alayhi salatu wasalam is the last of his messengers, the final seal, the last perfection of that beautiful, majestic palace of all of the previous prophets and messengers. And he, at the same time, is a slave of Allah, a servant of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. O mankind, fear your Lord, be mindful, watchful, and wary of your cherisher, of your maker, who created you from a single soul. And from that soul He made the partner, the pair, and the mate of that first soul. And from that original man, and from that original woman, He created countless men and women, and allowed them to dwell, and to live, and to enjoy Allah's spacious earth, as the sky being the canopy, and as the ground being the carpet, to drink from the cold fresh water, and the delicious ripe natural fruits. This is from Allah's bounties. So be mindful of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the one whose name you bring up, the one whose name you mention, the one whom you have enough consciousness to tell another man about when you demand something from that other man, your rights, your huquq, the things that belong to you. O you who believe, fear Allah perfectly, thoroughly, and consistently, and do not allow death to come to you. Do not be of those when the angel of death comes and you're in a state of disobedience to Allah. You're not in a state of submission to Ar-Rahman subhanahu wa ta'ala. Your face is high, physically, literally, or metaphorically. Do not be of those whom death comes and your head is up high and your face is up high. Be of those whom death comes and your face is low. Your face is low, it's humble. Physically, literally, and metaphorically. Whether in sujood or in an act of obedience to Ar-Rahman subhanahu wa ta'ala. Or you who believe, Fear Allah. Have taqwa of Allah. Be mindful of Allah. Be conscientious about Allah. And speak the truth. Do not lie. Do not slander. Do not make tales and gossip. Do not make up fables and stories. And do not go from one brother to the next, one sister to the next, one master to the next, one person to the next. Don't have the tongue of a snake. Don't have the tongue of a serpent. Don't have a forked tongue, as they say. Have one tongue. When you say something, that's what I meant, and I meant what I said. And tomorrow, it's the same statement. In front of this brother, it's the same statement. In front of another person, it is the same statement. Speak the truth. Let your tongue be moist with Allah's dhikr. Make abundant tasbih, takbir, tahmeed, and tahleel. La ilaha illallah. Alhamdulillah. Allahu Akbar. La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. Astaghfirullah. Let your tongue be moist with these words. Qulu qawlan sadida. And if you do so, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will rectify for you your bad deeds. Will fix your situation. Only Allah is the one who can rectify your affair. And He will forgive you of your sins. And the Muslim, the believer who obeys Allah and obeys Muhammad, the Rasulullah alayhi is the most triumphant, the most successful, and the most prosperous in this life and in the hereafter to proceed. Indeed, the best speech is that of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Quran Kareem. And the most excellent guidance is that of Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam. And the worst of affairs are innovations, made up novelties, hearsays, and practices. The worst thing for you to do, ya akhi, is to know that the straightest point between 2 points, or the quickest point between 2 points, is a straight line. It's for you to have common sense that Allah has blessed you with. Every human being has common sense. Point A, point B. The simplest, easiest, fastest way between those 2 points is a straight line. The worst thing for you to do is to say, I'm going to make a crooked line. I'm going to make a curve. I'm not going to go A to B. I'm going to go A to C to D, then back to B. This is what the Prophet ﷺ said. This is how he said it. This was when he said it. But me, I have another dua to make. I have another supplication to make that's better, more pleasing to Allah, and that's going to get me to Allah faster than the way Muhammad ﷺ got to Allah. That's the worst thing to do, and that is the most stupid, foolish person. This is how Muhammad practiced Islam, but I have another way of practicing Islam. This is how the companions of the Prophet ﷺ understood Islam and behaved as Muslims, but we have a different tariqah. We have a different method. We have a different way that we feel is better and more closer to Ar-Rahman. Sharr al-umur, the worst things. For indeed, every single bid'ah, every statement, everything that you believe and you profess of creed and of dogma, everything that you hold in your heart or what you utter with your tongue or perform with your limbs, if it is not proven by kitab, if it is not proven by sunnah, it is dalal, it's misguidance. No matter what shape promotes it and propagates it. It's misguidance. No matter who of your ancestors and forefathers used to do it, it is misguidance. No matter how much wealth you spend, no matter how long you spend doing it, no matter how sincere you may think you are, it's misguidance. And indeed, the misguidance, no matter what type it is, who says it, who brings it, a little or a lot, small or big, it is in the fire of hell. My dear brothers and sisters in Al-Islam, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has told us in His glorious book that He loves to be invoked and called upon. And that He has promised those who call upon Him, and those who invoke Him, those who supplicate to Him, that He will answer the dua. And He will give them whatever they need, and whatever they want, whatever they request of the good of this life and in hereafter. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has informed His slaves that He is close to them. He is near to them. Allah, the mighty and the majestic, has told us in so many verses that the believers, His chosen slaves, they call out to Him. They make dua to Him. Allah tells us about His prophets and His messengers. وَذَنُّونَ, Allah says, and the man who was swallowed by the fish, Yunus alayhi salam, Jonah. Allah told us what happened to this man and how he was in a great state of peril. And it was a hopeless situation. فَنَادَى فِي الظُّلُمَاتِ, and all of a sudden, behold, Allah says, he called out. He supplicated to Allah in the darkness. Allah, the Mighty and the Majestic, He tells us about all of His slaves of the past, prophets and messengers. وَكَانُوا, Allah says, and indeed, إِنَّهُمْ كَانُوا يُسَارِعُونَ, they used to rush and hasten. They used to compete with each other in good. They hoped for Allah and they feared Allah, and they used to call upon us. The Prophet ﷺ has expounded upon this tremendous Quranic concept, this tremendous Quranic principle, and the principle of a dua that you say every day in your salah, إِيَّاكَ نَعْبُدُ وَإِيَّاكَ نَسْتَعِينُ. It is you that we worship, O Allah, and it is you whose help we seek every day. The Prophet ﷺ has expounded on this, and he told us that there are reasons behind a person's dua being heard, behind a person's dua being accepted, and there are also reasons behind a person's dua being rejected, and a person's dua, quote unquote, not being heard. The Rasul ﷺ himself, the one who was most pure, most pious, and closest to Ar-Rahman, he asked Allah to protect him from dua that is not answered, from a supplication that is fruitless. And how could the Prophet ﷺ's dua ever be fruitless? How could the Prophet of Islam ﷺ make a dua and Allah not answer it? Yet and still, he wanted to set the precedent for the believers. He wanted to make an example for his followers, is that you may make dua and it may not be answered. You may supplicate to Allah for one reason or another, and as if that dua isn't heard. You may make a statement and it is fruitless. And there may be a person who may be lesser than you, who may be less pious than you, rather a person who may not be a Muslim, and his or her dua could be answered and could be heard. As the Prophet ﷺ told his disciple, Mu'adh radiallahu anhu, when he sent him to Yemen, to those Jewish Arabs, he told him and he instructed him what to do and what not to do. He gave him careful detail with regards to how to collect the zakat, how to administer the alms tax. He says, وَإِيَّاكَ وَكَرَائِمَ أَمْوَالِهِمْ. He says, and beware of taking the most valuable things of their wealth. Beware of this. When you go to collect their gold, their sheep, their cows, their gold and their silver, be in the middle. Don't take the worst and the most base, nor take the most expensive. Why not? فَإِنَّهُ, he says, وَاتَّقِ دَعْوَةَ الْمَظْلُومِ, and beware of the supplication of the oppressed. Be careful of the one who is oppressed, the one who you have wronged, to make dua against you. فَإِنَّهُ لَيْسَ بَيْنَهَا وَبَيْنَ اللَّهِ حِجَابٌ, for there is no screen, no veil, no covering between it and Allah. And one narration of this hadith says, even if it's from a kafir. So this hadith teaches us is that there are some du'as that go right to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Imam Muslim rahimahullah, in the famous word on hadith, he told us that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is tayyib. Allah is beautiful. Allah is perfect. And Allah is fine. And He only accepts that which is beautiful, that which is perfect, and that which is fine. Allah only accepts pure statements, pure deeds, pure acts. He then went on to mention that Allah commanded the believers in a similar mode of command of the messengers. And what did He command the messengers to do? To eat of the tayyibat, eat of the lawful things, the pure things, to do righteousness. The Prophet ﷺ then said, or Abu Hurairah then narrated, ثُمَّ ذَكَرَ الرَّجُلِ, and then he talked about a man, يُطِيلُ السَّفَرِ, who is he travels often. He's always on the road, traveling from one town to the next, one village to the next, one city to the next. Ash'atha, akhbara. The Prophet ﷺ said this man is dusty and dirty. This man is disheveled. His hair is uncombed. He's not neat. He's not dapper. He doesn't have the time to sit down and be dapper. He doesn't have the time to comb his hair and to brush his hair and to cut his hair and to wash and smell good because he's always on the road. يُطِيلُ السَّفَرَ أَشْعَثَ أَكْبَرَ. Look at what the Prophet says. This man is in a humble state. He's in a humble state. What did the Prophet ﷺ do? What did he look like? What did he dress like? When he went out to seek the rain from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When he went out to make salat al-istisqa. He didn't have on the finest clothes and the best clothes. The narration says, مُتَبَذِّلًا. The Prophet ﷺ had on normal type of clothing. In other words, we benefit from this hadith is that how a person dresses and your appearance and your disposition and your body language has an effect upon your dua being heard and answered. In other words, humbling yourself in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Humbling yourself in front of Allah and not being a person of luxury and being pampered. The Prophet ﷺ then tells us, يَمُدُّ يَدَيْهِ إِلَى السَّمَاءِ. He then raises his hands, lifts his hands. He makes dua. Ya Rab, Ya Rab, oh my Lord, oh Allah, my Lord. He calls out to Allah. He supplicates to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This man is a traveler. In most cases, he's traveling for ibadah. In most cases, he's traveling for hajj, for jihad, to buy and to sell something permissible, inshallah. He's upon some type of khair, outwardly. He's in a humble disposition. What will make his dua be rejected and not heard by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? And he calls out to Allah. He doesn't say, Ya Allah. Allah says, Ya Rab, my Lord, my Lord. The Prophet ﷺ, he says, and his food is haram. And his drink is haram. And his clothing is haram. And he is nourished through the haram. فَأَنَّا يُسْتَجَابُ لِذَلِكَ أو كما قال عليه الصلاة والسلام. How can this man's dua be answered? Allah Akbar. No matter how long you stand, no matter what you say, no matter what you feel that you're doing of goodness and positivity, you may be doing other things, or saying other things, or not doing and saying other things which will prevent your dua from being accepted. So this hadith, it teaches us is that there are things which reject one's dua. But another side of this hadith that not too many people pay attention to and focus on is it also shows us there are reasons behind the dua being accepted. And that is being in a humble state. Being in a humble state. Raising your hands and saying, Ya Rab, oh my owner, my Lord and my cherisher. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله تعالى لي ولكم فاستغفروه إنه كان غفارا. الحمد لله وكفى وصلاة الله وسلامه على عباده الذين اصطفى. أما بعد. The great genius of Islam, Al-Hafidh ibn al-Qayyim rahimahullah ta'ala, he says, ومن الآفات التي تمنع ترتب أثر الدعاء عليه أن يستعجل العبد ويستبطئ الإجابة فيستحسر ويدع الدعاء وهو بمنزلة من بذر بذرا أو غرس غرسا فجعل يتعهده ويسقيه فلما استبطأ كماله إدراكه تركه أهمله. وفي صحيح البخاري من حديث أبي هريرة رضي الله عنه أن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم قال يستجاب لأحدكم ما لم يعجل يقول دعوت فلم يستجب لي. وفي صحيح مسلم عنه لا يزال يستجاب للعبد ما لم يدع أو ما لم يدع بإثم أو قطيعة رحم ما لم يستعجل. قيل يا رسول الله وما الاستعجال؟ قال يقول قد دعوت وقد دعوت فلم أرى يستجيب لي فيستحسر عند ذلك ويدعو الدعاء. وفي مسند أحمد من حديث أنس قال قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم لا يزال العبد بخير ما لم يستعجل. قالوا يا رسول الله كيف يستعجل؟ قال يقول قد دعوت ربي فلم يستجب لي. He says from the reasons behind a person's dua not being accepted, not being heard, not being responded to, from the causes of dua not having the full effect, the full force of the dua, he says, is for the slave to be hasty. It's to always be in a rush when you make dua. and to immediately expect the fruits. To immediately expect to see the effects of the dua. I pray to Allah, I pray to Allah, I pray to Allah, but nothing has happened. So then what happens? Ibn Qayyim says, the slave becomes exhausted. He becomes frustrated. He gives up and he loses hope. I made dua to give me a righteous wife. A year, 2, 3 years have passed and I'm not married. I made dua, Allah give me a righteous, strong husband. No brother wants to marry me. My father still hasn't allowed me to get married. So therefore, I quit making dua and let me busy myself with something else. I made dua for my daughter to live with me, for me to have custody of my child. But yet still don't have custody of my child yet. So therefore, I stopped making dua. I'm hasty. I'm frustrated. As if Allah Azza wa Jalla has told me that there's a specific time in which dua is going to give it to me. As if I have a right against and over Allah to give me exactly what I want, when I want it, how I want it. This is not the attitude of a slave. Of a slave. Yes, we are slaves of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Not a servant, but a slave. And there's a difference between the two words. Even though they can be synonymous, but it isn't the same. Abd. You are a slave of Allah. Who are you to demand and to request something in a specific time and manner from the one who is your master, your Sayyid, who owns you, who created you, who brought you into existence? And he does what he wills and when he wants to, subhanahu wa ta'ala. Ibn Qayyim, he says, the example of this man or this woman is like a farmer, someone who sows seeds. He gives all of the attention to the earth, to the seeds, to the plant, to whatever he's growing and harvesting. And then all of a sudden, when it doesn't sprout, it doesn't pop up overnight, it doesn't grow like he wants to, he leaves it alone. He abandons it. Anyone who's a farmer, who's ever dealt with agriculture, knows for sure that you must be what? Consistent. And the crops, as if a person will say they have a mind of their own. Sometimes they grow quickly, sometimes they don't grow that fast. Sometimes it's a lot, sometimes it's a little. Sometimes it's abundant harvest, and sometimes it's nothing. But the successful farmer, the wise farmer, is the one that continues to sow his seeds, continues to water the plants, continues to keep out the weeds and anything that is dangerous to his or her crops. That's the wise farmer. And he knows for sure, if I'm planting the correct seeds, if I give enough water, if the soil is dark and rich and black gold as they say, there are no weasels or crows or bugs in my farm, then eventually the crops will grow. Sooner or later, they're going to grow because I'm doing what is proper. But the foolish person, he doesn't look past the tip of his nose. I made dua to go overseas to Medina, and I'm still not in Medina. I still didn't get accepted. I'm still not a hafiz of the Quran. I still, and he quits. And he turns his back upon Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and perhaps you are about to have your dua accepted. Just perhaps. Ibn Qayyim says, in Sahih Bukhari, the Messenger of Allah said, which is narrated by Abu Hurairah, يُسْتَجَابُ لِأَحَدِكُمْ, your dua will be answered. One of you's supplication will be responded to, مَا لَمْ يَعْجَلْ, as long as he is not hasty. As long as the slave is not hasty. The slave says, دَعَوْتُ فَلَمْ يُسْتَجَبْ لِي, I made dua, and Allah didn't answer my dua. I asked Allah, Allah didn't give me. I asked Allah for 3 things, He only gave me 1 thing. So that means that my dua wasn't accepted. And then when you take this attitude, and you take this approach, only Allah knows how the shaitan is going to twist you and play with you and mess with your mind. Maybe you're cursed. Maybe Allah doesn't like you. Maybe you've left Islam. Perhaps and perhaps and perhaps. And then the mind goes to travel in all different types of valleys of shubuhat, of doubtful things, uncertain things. And it could lead a person to kufr akbar. Why am I making dua if Allah has decreed it? Why am I making dua if it never happens to me? The Muslims have been making dua in this country for 50 years. And nothing has changed in this country. It's the same situation with the Muslims and the non-Muslims. So why are we even making dua? So the Prophet ﷺ, he wanted his followers to be protected from these doubts and from these evil incitements, from these devilish whisperings. Ibn al-Qayyim, he says, it's Sahih Muslim. A person, he says, the slave will continue to pray to Allah, لا يزال يستجاب للعبد, and his dua will be accepted, as long as he doesn't make dua with something that's sinful, or separating people and cutting the ties of kin and kith, and as long as he is not hasty. They said, "Oh Messenger of Allah, and what is haste in dua? What does it mean to rush in dua?" He says, the slave will say, I have made dua, I called upon Allah, and I haven't seen any effect of my dua. At that time, the slave becomes exhausted, frustrated, and he gives up. And he mentions other hadith. Ibn al-Qayyim rahimahullah then says, وَإِذَا جُمِعَ مَعَ الدُّعَاءِ حُضُورُ الْقَلْبِ وَجَمْعِيَّتُهُ بِكُلِّيَّةِ عَلَى الْمَطْلُوبِ وصادف وقتا من أوقات إجابة الستة، وهي الثلث الأخير من الليل، وعند الأذان، وبين الأذان والإقامة، وأدبار الصلوات المكتوبات، وعند صعود الإمام يوم الجمعة على المنبر حتى تقضى الصلاة من ذلك اليوم، وآخر ساعة النداء بعد العصر. وصادف خشوعا في القلب وانكسارا بين يدي الرب وذلة له وتضرعا ورقا، واستقبل الداعي القبلة، وكان على طهارة ورفع يديه إلى الله، وبدأ بحمد الله والثناء عليه، ثم ثنى بالصلاة على محمد عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وسلم، ثم قدم بين يدي حاجته التوبة والاستغفار، ثم دخل على الله وألح عليه في المسألة وتملقه ودعاه رغبة ورهبة، وتوسل إليه بأسمائه وصفاته وتوحيده، وقدم بين يدي دعائه صدقة، فإن هذا الدعاء لا يكاد يرد أبدا، ولا سيما إن صادف الأدعية التي أخبر النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم أنها مذنة الإجابة أو أنها متضمنة للاسم الأعظم. Ibn al-Qayyim, he then says, whenever a person's heart is focused, a person is concentrating, a person leaves off the dunya, divorces the dunya, he divorces his food and his drink and his wife and his children and his work and his co-workers and sports and athletes and this and that. When his heart is focused upon Allah, he says, in 101%, and the person has a specific need from Allah, and he's focused on that need, and he also makes dua during one of the prime times, one of the 6 prime times of dua. He says, then very seldom will his dua be rejected. Very seldom. Almost impossible will his dua not be answered. What are these 6 prime times, quote unquote? Ibn al-Qayyim says, the first is الثلث الأخير, the last third of the night. How can you make dua to Allah during the last third of the night if you're sleeping? Or if you're smoking or drinking or fornicating or gambling or watching or listening to something that you shouldn't be watching and listening to? So that doesn't even make any sense. If you're totally heedless from the night and its virtue, then you might as well throw that out of the window. There's no prime time for you. But those who do stay up, those who are praying, who are worshiping, who are being pious during the last third of the night, this is perhaps one of the best times to invoke Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He then says, and at the time of the adhan, when the adhan is being made, between the adhan and the iqamah, after the 5 salawat, the 5 daily prayers, when the imam ascends the minbar on Jum'ah until the end of that day, Ibn al-Qayyim, he says, and the last hour after Asr. He says these are the 6 best times. And also, the heart is humble, submissive, and in a serene, tranquil state. And then the one who makes dua, he does the following things. Number 1, he faces the qibla. Number 2, he's upon tahara, he has wudu, he's clean and he's pure. Number 3, he raises his hands to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Number 4, he begins his dua with praising Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Lauding Allah. He doesn't start, Allah, give me. But he praises Allah first. He lauds Allah and he mentions Allah's beauty and perfection. Ibn al-Qayyim then says, afterwards, he sends prayers and salutations upon Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. How many people do this? In your dua, do you say, Allahumma salli wa sallam wa barak ala abdi wa rasulik? Do you make this dua, or do you rush right into your specific individual selfish need? Ibn al-Qayyim, he then says, and then before you pray once more, ask Allah to forgive you. ask Allah for forgiveness, then enter upon Allah. ثُمَّ دَخَلْ, then you go to Allah and you ask for that which you need. And make sure that you connect yourself to Allah, he says. Fasten yourself to Allah. Attach yourself to your Lord. And declare your weakness and your need of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I'm not arrogant, I'm not prideful, I have no strength, I have no power. Except for you, with you, and through you, O Allah. And then ask for that which you need. Ibn al-Qayyim rahimahullah ta'ala, he then says, and especially when the slave mentions Allah's greatest name. The greatest of Allah's names. What is Allah's greatest name? What does this mean? I thought that was it. What does it mean that Allah has a name that is the most grand, the most magnificent name? And what is this name? And what has the Prophet ﷺ said about this name? Indeed, the topic of dua, its virtue, its importance, its obligation, its etiquettes, the do's and the don'ts, the way to do it, and the proper way to conduct it cannot be mentioned in a simple, brief khutbah. As the Prophet ﷺ said in the authentic hadith, the hadith of Ammar ibn Yasir in Sahih Muslim, he said that indeed, إِنَّ طُولَ صَلَاةِ الرَّجُلِ وَقِصَرَ خُطْبَتِهِ مَئِنَّةٌ مِنْ فِقْهِهِ. When a man prays long and speaks shortly in the khutbah, as a sign of his knowledge. وآخر دعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين.